What's going on, everyone? Brian Shea, host of the All Things Nintendo podcast. I had a bit of a unique opportunity come across my desk a few weeks ago. Bandai Namco brought me out to Las Vegas to check out Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, I know this is not a game that is coming to a Nintendo platform that we know of, but it was a game that I was very much looking forward to, and I'm very intrigued by. For those who are unaware, this is a 3-player co-op PvE session-based multiplayer game set in a world parallel to that of the original Elden Ring title. Now, that is a massive departure in and of itself from the Elden Ring and, the Souls-like genre in general. So to say that I was intrigued and maybe a bit skeptical was a bit of an understatement. But still, I was very excited, very curious to head to this event hosted by Bandai Namco and see what the game was all about for myself. As I mentioned, Elden Ring Nightreign is a PvE multiplayer game set in a world that is parallel to Elden Ring. And this is a standalone game, which I think is refreshing for a lot of people, especially after Shadow of the Erdtree made everybody have to kind of get to pretty much end game status of their Elden Ring save. So being able to just jump right into this, not needing to own Elden Ring, is, I think, a big boon for this game. So basically it puts you in a team of 3 and you take control of Nightfarers who have unique skills and ultimates, and these characters are kind of like different classes that you can choose, but at the same time you are given kind of like a predetermined loadout. But the entire game and the entire gameplay loop here is all about taking your 35 to 45 minute session and just trying to build out as best of a character as you can to survive the various horrors that you're going to face. So each of these characters has their unique skills and ultimates, even synergies with other characters. And this is a very exploration-based game. Like if you played Elden Ring or Shadow of the Erdtree and you were worried that Nightrain would be getting rid of kind of those exploration elements, the good news is this is very much an exploration-based experience, even though you are on a timer. And not only that, but they've also enhanced the various abilities that your character has. The Nightfarers can, they start off riding this spectral hawk, and you kind of drop in, which, it does borrow quite a few elements from the Battle Royale genre, but definitely is not a Battle Royale game. So, like I said, relatively quick sessions, 35 to 45 minutes for a successful run through this game. And your entire mission is to survive 3 nights. So you land wherever you want to land with your team, and your mission in that moment is to just basically level up and gather better gear during the daytime, so that way when nighttime occurs and the boss battles happen, you have a better chance of surviving. Now, when you go through the best strategy that we found was to go to these like smaller camps of enemies, and that would get us experience that we could use to level up. And you level up at points of grace just as you do in the original Elden Ring. And the strategy of finding these kind of lower level camps just to kind of get your footing under you is really important. And not only that, but you can find usually better weapons, better gear. And these weapons that you find, even if you don't plan on using it, you should fill up the various slots in your inventory, because a lot of the weapons will also have passive abilities, meaning that just for having them in your inventory, it will give you some sort of boost. And that was really important to me, and it really took me a while to kind of wrap my head around that. And each of these individual Nightfarers have enhanced abilities, like they're able to climb walls, they can mantle over objects. They have a super sprint, which was awesome. It really improved the traversal experience when you're on the clock. The original Elden Ring was all about kind of methodically going through these areas and, taking your time as you plot your path through the world. Elden Ring Nightreign, you don't really have that luxury because nighttime is always coming, and you have to kind of make sure that you are positioned in the best way possible. So these additional abilities, the ability to climb walls and mantle objects and super sprint, are extremely important to keep in mind. And if you've played a lot of Elden Ring, like I've put about 40 hours into Elden Ring, you're gonna have to kind of rewire your brain to tell yourself that you need to do this type of stuff. In the build that I played, there were 4 of these Nightfarers, but they're telling me there's going to be 8 at launch. And not only that, but like, you know, there are duplicates that you can do. So if all 3 of your players want to be the same Nightfarer, there might be, you know, pros and cons to that, but you can do that if you so desire. So, you know, basically the mission is you have to survive for 3 days and 3 nights, and as you go through this, as you traverse the world, you are going to find different loot, which, by the way, is communal. So like when you find loot, it is shared among the team, which is a very welcome addition for this game. But a ring is going to be closing in, and you know that can sometimes lead to that mad dash that you see in battle royale games. But it's because it's so exploration based. You know, I played multiple full sessions of this. I mean, unfortunately, I was never successful in reaching the end. But we did make it to that 3rd day. But as that ring starts closing in, you have to make some calculations, because if you're outside of that ring, you just consistently take damage. So, you know, there were times where it's like, oh my gosh, there's a point of grace right there, let me grab that and level up, but it just was not in the cards because that ring was shrinking so rapidly. Or, you know, if you see the ring coming from across the map and there's a mini boss battle that spawns, that was something that we had to take into account of, all right, do we want to try to take down this mini boss or this small encampment of enemies in order to get the XP, or do we want to try and make it so that, you know, just get safe distance between us and the encroaching ring that is closing. And then once that ring closes and night falls, that's when the boss battle occurs, and you have to really kind of clear out the area, and then the boss will spawn in. And these boss battles, I mean, it's Elden Ring, so of course they're going to be difficult, but there were no easy boss battles in my experience with this. And I will say that the co-op element of this really is highlighted in these boss battles. Like, I mean, if you played Elden Ring, you know that if you can summon somebody in to help you with a boss battle, just having the distraction so the boss isn't focusing 100% on you helps so much. Having 2 co-op partners, not only for the boss battles, but just exploration in general, really makes this feel like a refreshed take on the tried and true formula of Elden Ring. Having people call out like, hey, I found this thing over here in the world, or like, hey, there's this cave down here, come check this out, and then like making those decisions on the fly as a team as you work through the world, and you know, the day night cycle progresses. It's really a different take on this game, even though the gameplay itself is quite familiar. But that's especially highlighted in these boss battles. And it's interesting because it not only brings bosses from past Souls-like games, but it also brings all new bosses. So that was very exciting to see. And you know, as you're searching for loot, you know, enemies will drop things that you can go ahead and pick up. And you know, there's also randomized events. Everything in this game is randomized to give you kind of a unique experience every time you drop in, which is, you know, kind of like the charm of a battle royale or a roguelike. And you know, there's loot, there's bosses, there's enemies, drops. All of these things are randomized in order to give you a unique experience every time you drop in. And not only that, they gave a tease when I was talking to the Bandai Namco folks when they were giving a presentation before we jumped in, saying that there's even like world events, like a volcano just might open up in the middle of the map, and you know, along with that, some other types of chaos can come out. So yeah, this was a very exciting experience. I had a great time playing it, and yeah, like it was something that I didn't know that I needed from an Elden Ring or even a Souls-like game. But the fact that it's so centered around getting you to the action as fast as possible and providing you the Elden Ring gameplay and exploration experience in relatively bite-sized chunks. That was something that I was not expecting to take to as much as I did. But yeah, I had a blast playing Elden Ring Nightreign. Again, a big shout out to Bandai Namco for bringing me out to this event to get my hands on Elden Ring Nightreign ahead of the upcoming network test. I was, like I said at the top of the video, I was very skeptical going in, but I came away excited to check out more of this game. The implementation of some of the tried and true battle royale elements that have been kind of appropriated into the Souls-like genre and the Souls-like formula, I think really work out in unique ways. And I am so excited to check this out when the full game comes out on May 30th. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yeah.